For nearly 2 decades, she has been the very soul of Heartland, the calm center, the gentle hand, and the beating heart of the Fleming Bartlett legacy. To picture Heartland without Amy Fleming is to picture a sky without a sun. And yet, that very impossible thought is now a quiet reality. Amber Marshall, the actress who brought Amy to life from the very beginning, is taking a step back, and the fandom is left trying to catch its breath. When Heartland first graced our screens in 2007, it was a quiet show, a gentle giant set against the breathtaking backdrop of the Alberta Rockies. No one could have predicted it would become the longest-running one-hour drama in Canadian history, capturing millions of hearts worldwide with its profound sense of family, its deep respect for horses, and its emotional honesty. At the very center of that phenomenon was Amber Marshall. As Amy Fleming, a gifted horse whisperer, reeling from the tragic death of her mother, Amber gave a performance that felt less like acting and more like living. From that first season, we knew she was different. She wasn't just a character on a screen, she was real, a friend who could soothe a horse's wounded spirit while navigating the fractures in her own. Through every trial, every celebration, every quiet moment watching the sun rise over the ranch, Amy was our constant. And through her, Amber Marshall became an icon of resilience, grace, and empathy. Over 18 seasons, Heartland transformed from a television series into a cultural touchstone. It became a multi-generational tradition, a show families could watch together. For many, it was a source of comfort in trying times, a safe harbor in a chaotic world, and Amber was the lighthouse keeper. Her connection to the animals on screen was never faked. Her love for the sprawling landscapes was entirely genuine. This was because Amber's own life mirrored Amy's in so many beautiful ways. Off-screen, Amber lives on a real working ranch in Alberta, surrounded by her husband, horses, dogs, and a menagerie of other animals. This parallel life imbued her portrayal of Amy with an unshakable authenticity. She didn't have to pretend to be a country girl who understood animals, she simply was one. This truth is what kept viewers anchored to the show year after year. Consider the incredible arc Amy has traveled. We watched her evolve from a heartbroken teenager into a confident, wise mother. She navigated profound loss, deep love, the joys of motherhood, and the kind of soul-crushing pain that changes a person forever. We watched her fall for Ty, build a life with him, and then we had to watch her say a final goodbye, forced to find a way to carry on for their daughter. Throughout it all, Amber ensured Amy remained grounded, her strength never hardening into bitterness, her kindness never devolving into weakness. It was this perfect, delicate balance that made her so profoundly beloved. And we can't overlook the sheer dedication she poured into the role. Amber frequently performed her own riding stunts and worked hands-on with the horses, treating every scene, every animal, and every storyline with a deep-seated respect. That kind of commitment is a rarity in the television industry, and it's a major reason why the audience trusted her so completely. She wasn't performing for stardom, she was aiming for truth. Even her fellow cast members have consistently described Amber as the bedrock of the set, a leader who was professional yet warm, always ready to mentor new actors or greet fans visiting the production. She was more than the lead. She was the heart of the on-set Heartland family. And when you remove the heart, the entire body feels the loss. So as the whispers grew louder that Amber might not be returning for season 19, fans braced for the inevitable. The thought of a Heartland without Amy Fleming is a difficult pill to swallow. After all, how can you say farewell to someone who never felt like a character at all, but like a lifelong friend? The signs didn't appear overnight. There was no single dramatic announcement, no explosive press release that signaled the end. It was a slow, creeping change, like the feeling of an autumn chill arriving on a late summer evening. You feel it before you can name it. At first, it was subtle shifts that only the most dedicated fans would notice. In season 17, Amy's storylines felt quieter. She was still present, still the gentle horse whisperer, but there was a new distance. Some episodes featured her only sparingly, her presence more of a supporting note than the central melody. Initially, this was dismissed as an ensemble show making room for its other beloved characters to shine. After all, with Lou, Tim, Jack, Georgie, and Katie all having their own journeys, it seemed natural, but the feeling persisted. Something was different. Then in season 18, the pattern became more pronounced. Amy's scenes often felt abbreviated. She would appear, offer a few words of wisdom, and recede into the background. Longtime viewers began to speculate that the writers were methodically preparing us for a major shift. Was this a conscious choice on Amber's part, or was she being gradually written out? The speculation was amplified by social media. Fans who followed Amber's personal accounts noticed a change. The frequent behind-the-scenes photos, the joyful selfies with her equine co-stars, the candid moments from the set, they became fewer and farther between. During the filming of season 18, her usual excitement was replaced by a noticeable quiet. Then came the interview where she was asked directly about her future with the show. Her response was gracious but noticeably evasive. She spoke of her love for Heartland, her gratitude for the fans, and the immense role it played in her life, but she artfully dodged the one confirmation everyone was desperate to hear, that she was staying. That moment was a turning point for many fans. Amber had always been known for her candor and heartfelt honesty. For her to be so guarded felt like an answer in itself. The pieces began to fall into place. Many were reminded of the abrupt and deeply emotional departure of Ty's character in season 14. That loss left an indelible mark on both Amy and the viewers. Now it felt like a similar, albeit quieter, departure was unfolding with Amy herself. Fan forums on Reddit and Facebook lit up with theories. Some hoped she was merely taking a sabbatical. Others were convinced she was engineering a quiet exit on her own terms, preserving the dignity of the character. A few even worried she was being pushed aside for a younger generation. But all the theories were bound by a single frustrating truth: no one knew for certain. There were other clues as well. The promotional materials for the upcoming season 19 felt different. The focus was less on Amy and more on the ensemble cast, Lou's memorial duties, Tim's legacy, and the growth of Katie and Logan. The trailers lacked Amber's iconic voiceover, and the posters no longer placed her front and center. It was as if the audience was being gently conditioned for a future without her. There's a certain poetry to how it happened, not with a bang, but with a whisper. A slow fade, like a photograph losing its color over time. But for the fans who had been there since the beginning, that quiet shift was deafening. They knew in their hearts, Amber Marshall, the very soul of Heartland, was letting go. And it was heartbreaking because for so many who grew up with her, who relied on Amy Fleming to get them through their own life storms, it felt like letting go of a part of themselves. And the silence around it only made it harder. Sometimes the most honest answers are unspoken. Amber Marshall did not have a dramatic exit. She didn't write a long emotional farewell post. She didn't sit down for a tell-all interview to explain why she was stepping away from the character that defined her career. Instead, she just quietly retreated, like someone closing the door to a home they've lived in for 2 decades. But why? This is the question that echoes in the hearts of fans. While there is no official singular reason, the truth seems to be woven into the fabric of interviews, social media, and the very life Amber has meticulously built for herself away from the cameras. The first thing to understand is that Amber Marshall was never chasing Hollywood fame. Leaving Heartland was not a stepping stone to bigger, flashier projects. In fact, her entire ethos runs contrary to the typical celebrity machine. Amber lives on a real working ranch in Alberta, not a pristine movie set, not a sprawling Beverly Hills mansion, but a genuine ranch with all the mud, hard work, animals, and profound peace that comes with it. It is exactly the kind of life that Amy Fleming herself would have chosen. In a candid interview, Amber once said something that lingered with fans: "My happiness is in the simple things, time with my animals, quiet mornings, living close to the land." That single sentence likely holds more truth than any formal press statement ever could. For years she masterfully juggled 2 separate lives, the demanding schedule of a television lead and the quiet reality of her own life. She would spend months immersed in the world of Heartland, only to return home to care for her animals, reconnect with her husband, and embrace a much slower, more private rhythm. But as the seasons mounted and Amy's storyline grew heavier, maintaining that balance likely became more challenging. The truth is, Amber has dedicated nearly 20 years of her life to a single character. That is an incredible feat in television. But even more significant is the emotional weight that character was asked to carry. Amy wasn't just training horses. She was a woman defined by grief. First her mother, then her husband. She was a single parent, a business owner, and the emotional anchor for her entire family, all while carrying the legacy of a show that millions of people held sacred. That level of responsibility is both a gift and a burden. It seems she simply reached a point where she had to choose her own well-being, not out of selfishness, but as an act of self-preservation. After portraying the gut-wrenching grief of Ty's death in season 14, the show's tone fundamentally shifted. Amy became a single mother, raising her daughter in the shadow of her lost soulmate. For an actress as empathetic as Amber, living in that headspace of loss, season after season, must have taken an immense emotional toll. And while she handled that storyline with breathtaking grace, perhaps she felt she had taken Amy's story of grief as far as it could go. Maybe she needed to finally let herself and Amy find peace. Fan reactions were immediate and profound. It's a strange and beautiful phenomenon how a fictional character can feel like a member of your own family. But that's what Amy Fleming through Amber Marshall became to millions. So when the news began to solidify that she would not be part of season 19, the response wasn't anger. It was a deep collective heartbreak. A quiet lingering sadness settled over the fandom. Across the globe, viewers sat with the news, some in disbelief, others in tears, processing the idea that their comfort character, their steady presence through the ups and downs of life, might not be there anymore. Amber didn't just play a part, she was a companion through the years. She was there through their own losses, their heartbreaks, their new beginnings, and their lonely nights. In losing Amy, fans felt like they were losing more than just a character on a show, they felt like they were losing a part of their own story. Online, the tributes were deeply personal. "I literally grew up alongside Amy. I don't know how to process this," one fan wrote. Another posted, "Without Amber, it's not Heartland. She helped me get through my darkest days. I'm not ready to let go." From YouTube tribute videos set to poignant music to Reddit threads sharing favorite scenes, fans began to mourn her departure as if it were a real-life loss. This wasn't melodrama, it was a testament to love. A deep personal affection for an actress who never sought the spotlight but gave her entire heart to her work. Some fans shared photos from meet and greets, cherishing the moment they met Amber in person. Others posted clips of scenes that had helped them cope with anxiety or grief, with one simply stating, "She was my calm in the storm." This is the kind of impact Amber Marshall had. But amidst the sadness, there was also a wave of profound understanding and respect. As much as it hurt, many fans were quick to add, "She deserves her peace. She gave us everything. Now it's her turn to just live." One comment perfectly captured the sentiment, "She gave us 18 seasons of her life. That's more than we ever had a right to ask for. I will miss her terribly, but I will be forever grateful." And yet, a significant question remains, can the show survive without her? For many, Amy wasn't just the main character, she was the entire soul of the show. Her unique bond with horses, her emotional intelligence, and her quiet strength formed the very foundation of Heartland. Some worry the series will lose its warmth and drift into unfamiliar territory. Others remain hopeful, putting their trust in the remaining cast to carry the torch forward. But one feeling transcends all others in the fandom: gratitude. Fans aren't bitter. They are profoundly thankful. Thankful for every ride, every whisper to a troubled horse, every emotional moment Amber Marshall brought to life. Thankful for the stories that gave them hope, made them laugh, and helped them heal. Perhaps that is the ultimate sign of a truly beloved character. It's not the volume of the goodbye, but the quiet depth of the love that remains. What's next for Heartland? The heart of the show may be changing, but the story is not over. With Amber Marshall stepping back, the series faces its biggest creative challenge yet. But even with Amy's absence, the world of Heartland continues. The new season will undoubtedly shift its focus, not to replace Amy, but to honor the world she was so instrumental in building. The spotlight will turn to the other characters we've grown to love. Lou will continue to navigate her role as mayor, a mother and a woman finding love again. Tim will grapple with his legacy and what it means to be a patriarch. And Jack, as always, will be the steady, wise hand guiding the family, his presence a constant comfort. The next generation, represented by Georgie and Katie, will carry the torch forward, their own stories echoing the strength and compassion Amy embodied. We will likely see more development for supporting characters like Logan, whose journey with horses mirrors a young Amy's, and the complicated evolving relationship between Peter and Lou. The ranch itself will remain a central character. The horses, the land, the changing seasons. And while Amy may not be physically present, her spirit will be felt in every frame. It will be in the way Georgie handles a difficult horse, the way Katie speaks to an injured animal, and the way Jack pauses, considering what Amy would have done. Her absence will create a powerful presence, a reminder of the legacy she left behind. Because sometimes a story is defined as much by what is missing as by what is there, and sometimes a goodbye paves the way for a new beginning. Of course, fans will continue to ask if Amber might ever return. The answer remains uncertain, but there is always hope. Amber never said the door was closed forever. She simply chose to step away for now, to live, and to breathe. And if the show continues to tell stories with heart and purpose, a reunion is always possible, even if just for a final heartfelt farewell. Until then, Heartland is embarking on a new chapter, one that honors its past while bravely facing the future. It was never a show about just one person. It was always about family, healing and growth. And that journey continues, one step at a time. The gates of Heartland remain open for those willing to see where the story leads next.